Hey guys, what's up? How we doing tonight, guys? Hopefully we're doing good. Just gonna make sure that I got everything here real quick. Got the stream all ready to go while we're waiting on people to arrive in the chat. Seems like we got all the movies here in order. There we go. Yep, got everything I need. How you guys doing out there? How's your Saturday going? Is it going good? I hope it is. If so, let me know. Hey, Play, what's up? How you doing, Play? You having a good weekend so far? How was your week? You have a good week? Just kind of in the pre-show right now, waiting for some people to get here so we can all talk some Nightmare on Elm Street. I've been planning this stream for what, a month now? Play. Sorry about that, by the way. I know I've been scheduling the stream and then turning it off, mainly because the days that I plan it never end up, working because I end up getting pretty busy. But yeah, oh my god, my mug of pop is like full. All right, I'm gonna tell you. There we go. But how you doing out there, man? What's up, Devin? How you doing, man? Been a minute, man. You go just finished Transformers: Dark of the Moon. My week has been good. But how you guys doing? Our play's doing good. That's good, Devin. How's your week been? How's your weekend been so far? You having fun, man? You guys seen any movies recently? I know Play. You just told me you've seen Transformers, but um, I gotta see Lighthouse, man. I haven't seen that one yet, but I heard so many great things about it, and I'm a really big fan of The Witch, and so one day I should probably check that out. But yeah, how you doing, Devin? I'm gonna give it probably a minute or two, and then we're gonna get into it. And the more we talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, the more people will arrive, hopefully. But yeah, um, before we get into it, though, I picked up two new movies. Um, that's good, Devin. That's real good. Picked up a film that um, I haven't seen yet, but I was gonna check it out, but I was like still having to wait on it, and I ordered it. This came in like a day, bro, like a day or two. This was like fast as hell getting here, and it was in another. It was far, not really far, but it was like pretty far, and it got here within one day. So that's pretty crazy. But I got Intruder, which of course is the film by Scott Spiegel. Scott Spiegel, big fan of him. Love from Dust Till Dawn 2. I know he was heavily involved with the Evil Dead films. Big fan of Scott Spiegel, and as you can see, Sam Raimi's in this. Bruce Campbell's in this. I heard it has some amazing gore. Um, I can't wait to see it. But yeah, that's Intruder. Show you guys the disc. It's in awesome condition, practically brand new. So yeah, Intruder, and I also picked up Dario Argento's Tenebrae, which is awesome because I've been meaning to get this movie for a while, and here's the original poster for it, which is awesome. Love that cover art. But yeah, and then here is the disc, which has pretty cool looking artwork on it. Yeah, there's Tenebrae. Love Suspiria, so I can't wait to check this out and give it a review. I'll also checking out Deep Red and all of his movies. Really, I want to see like Phenomena, Opera, more Fulci stuff eventually. But as you guys know, I've been reviewing the Universal monster movies. Have you seen Killer Bean Forever? Even though it sounds silly, it's actually really good. It's beans killing beans. No, I have not. But the description of that movie alone sounds fucking amazing. It really does. The description alone is amazing. But all right, guys, are we ready to get into some Nightmare on Elm Street? We'll get into it right now. Get right into it. Of course, from the box set here. if we're starting out the video or the stream talking about one hell of a good horror film, Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a 1984 film, and I don't have IMDb put up, which I probably should, but I know that's a pretty high rating on there. Of course, written by Wes Craven. Wes Craven, of course, is one of the best filmmakers of all time. Easily one of my favorite filmmakers. Probably my favorite director. I'll be honest. And really, the first movie, I can't really say much about it that hasn't been said. I mean, this movie's been pretty much studied and analyzed since it came out. I mean, there's so many iconic things in this film, and it made it into my top 10 favorite horror film of all time. Um, and I think it was number 10, I believe, on that list. And dude, I absolutely adore this movie. I really, I really can't say much more on the film other than it's just a brilliant film and brilliant work from Wes Craven. And I really enjoy the way the movie looks, the atmosphere of it, the direction really creates this dream atmosphere superbly. And the soundtrack as well. The soundtrack is actually underrated. Um, it's easily probably in the top 10 favorite horror film soundtracks. I love the way the music in this movie sounds. The music when Nancy is like at the traps. Um, the music when he's chasing Nancy is called Run Nancy, that track. Or when Johnny Depp gets pulled on the bed. Um, just the music I've always thought was some of the best music in a horror film. And it has that cool synthy sound that makes it sound like it's dreamlike. I love that score, man. One day I just sit down, and I've actually done it before, but I'll sit down and listen to that score, man, and just go over it again and just, man, I really love the music in the movie. Um, Also, to go over the cast, of course, we've got Nancy, played by Heather Langenkamp, which Heather Langenkamp is easily one of the best leads in a horror film. Her character is very strong and likable, but yet she's not one of those leads that's like from the very beginning. She's not like instantly strong and winning all the battles and stuff like that. She's kind of one of those naturally done leads, and she kind of builds into that stuff. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoy how they keep it realistic and stuff like that, and how she kind of naturally grows into that. But yeah, of course, Helene Camp is amazing as Nancy. You got Johnny Depp as her boyfriend Glenn, another great character. Rod, who would go on to be in Candyman 3, the actor would. Tina, really enjoyed her character and the actress who played her. And of course, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. We also got Tom Saxon and um, Nancy's mother, which I thought was a good actress. But Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, I thought was just amazing. And he really, in this movie, I thought Freddy Krueger was just creepy and serious and in the shadows. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed how they kept him fairly serious. Um, I like how, and I do like the wisecracking, joking Freddy Krueger. I mean, I just find it entertaining, but I must say that the serious Freddy is definitely very creepy. Um, but yeah, I mean, the effects look amazing. The effects of Rod being hung in the jail cell, the fountain of blood being sprayed out of Glenn's bed, which is easily one of the best shots in horror. Another one of the best shots in horror is of Tina's death scene. Another one of the best shots of horror is when Freddy Krueger is taking his glove out the bathtub and then he pulls Nancy down. Another one of the greatest. I mean, I can just go on and on. I mean, the alley scene, the scene where he cut his fingers off, the set up the trap scene. I mean, these are just some of those iconic scenes um, in horror films, in horror film history. And the movie is really fast paced, has a great story. Everything in this movie is nailed as far as atmosphere goes, the story goes. Everything in the first Nightmare on Elm Street is nailed, and I would give it a honestly perfect score. It gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Flawless film. I love it to death. Easily one of the best horror films ever made. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 1. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it because, man, it's Nightmare on Elm Street 1. I mean, it's just one of those universally known films. And there's really not much more I can add on to it, other than say I love the movie to death. I think it's an awesome and amazing horror film. But Devin says, have you seen any of the Transformers films? If you haven't, only seen Transformers 2007. Oh, if you haven't, only seen Transformers 2007, Fallen, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Bumblebee. There are four, but they are bad. There are 4 and 5, but they're bad. I've seen the first movie in the theaters. I think, and I do remember liking the first movie. I seen the second movie when it came out, and I must say, Revenge of the Fallen is actually not that bad of a film. I must say that movie is ridiculed, and I've watched it plenty of times. And yeah, I mean, there's problems here and there, but I never got the universal hate for the movie. Dark of the Moon is okay. I remember it being all right. Age of Extinction was pretty bad, and the new one I didn't see. And Bumblebee I heard was pretty decent. But yeah, I do want to see more of them. Yes, almost all the Transformers films are bad, is what Devin says. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, the first two I really do think are good. Third one is eh. After that, it really goes downhill. But I can't say that they're Oscar movies. They're really not. They're meant to be more like popcorn and stuff like that, where you're just gonna go into for the action, which is why I approach it. I mean, I didn't really expect anything too. I mean, it's just Transformers movie. It had great action in it and stuff like that. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is a 10 out of 10 film for me. Of course, the film was a massive hit, and New Line had realized this, and they quickly began production on the next film in the series, and director Jack Schroeder got involved, and this movie stars Mark Patton, and that movie is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which is a film that a lot of people in this franchise, this is a film that's very underrated. It really is. Um, I've always really enjoyed this movie ever since I first seen it. I've really gotten into it. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's a great film. Um, I don't know if I can say I I can't say it's as flawless as the first movie, but I still can't say it's a bad movie at all. I mean, I think it's just really entertaining and dark and grim. Freddy Krueger is just really morbid in this film, and I love the design of Freddy Krueger in this movie. How they gave him that the red eyes and the witch nose and the way his face looked. I thought he looked the scariest in this movie. I thought he was actually. Do you want to see the scariest Freddy? This is honestly the scariest Freddy you ever got. I mean, think about it. He's peeling his brain back and slicing a party, and people catching on fire. He's possessing this lead, Mark Patton, who I really enjoyed this movie. Um, Freddy Krueger is very dark in this film. It's just really grim. And the movie's atmosphere is the same way. It's a very dark, misty, just hard, edgy atmosphere that's like, wow, it's very, very dark. And the effects still look great in this movie. A lot of the scenes that come to mind is especially easily one of the best scenes from Nightmare on Elm Street is the scene where Jesse transforms into Freddy Krueger, and he has the claws coming out of his fingertips, and he's screaming, and he's crying, and his arm splits, and you see the Freddy sweater, and then you see Freddy's face get like pushed out, cut out. Freddy shoots out of his body and like rises up and goes over and just doesn't even say a one line. Just goes over, gets the guy up the door, and just completely guts him and like just impales him through the door and claws him. And it's just like, man, it's an intense scene. and the music in that scene. Another thing is good in this movie as well is that this movie has its own score. It's not a copy of the original movie score. To be honest, do you eat? This is an honest question to you guys. Maybe you guys remember this or not. I don't remember, but do you even hear the classic Elm Street theme in this movie? That dun, 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 dun. Do you even hear that in this movie? I don't remember a part where you do, or if you do, it sounds. I can't remember a part in the movie where you hear the signature sound because it's that different of a score. It's just very moody and just really good. It's really good sounding music. It makes it have this great atmosphere to it. Some of the other scenes I really enjoy. Certain scenes where you feel bad for Mark Patton's character. When the coach gets killed and the glove comes up and he screams, and they said, we found him and he was naked on the street, and you see that Jesse is really he's not sleeping. There's even a point to where in his room, all the wall and stuff on his dresser is like melting because of how hot it is in his room, and you feel bad for the character. You really do. You feel bad for him, and I like how different it is. I like the fact that it's not all about the dreams in this movie. I like how it's Freddy trying to be out of his element. I like how different it is. Um, I like how unique the movie is, and what I would say really fits the analysis of this movie and my thoughts on it is the bad things to me are the good things. Like I like the darkness to it, how it's very edgy and different and unique and a different story and how it's a total 180 from the first movie. But there's two ways you can do a sequel. Be original and different or a pretty close copycat. And original and different, there are examples of that are great movies, and there are examples that are not good movies. And that goes for the same way as copycat movies. There are good copycat movies. I'm a big fan of Hangover Part 2, but Hangover Part 3 is different. I also enjoy that movie too. I enjoy all three Hangover movies. But I like how it's different. I like how it's unique. I like the cast. I mean, not only do you have Mark Patton, but you also have his friend Rod, who I thought was is it Rod or Ron? I can't remember. He's a good character as well as his best friend. Um, I really enjoyed Clu Gulager in this movie. He's playing Jesse's father. Actually, the same year he was going to be in Return of the Living Dead. Um, but yeah, man, I really enjoy the cast. I enjoy the atmosphere. The acting is really good, especially from Mark Patton. You feel bad for the character. And of course, discussing this movie, you got to get into the most notorious thing about this movie is that people say, well, it's a very gay horror movie. And I will say this it adds to the story. And I don't care if it's more of a gay horror film. I mean, it's different, it's very unique. It adds that extra thing to the story to where now you could go, okay, so Freddy is like a metaphor for this guy kind of not sure about his sexuality and isn't sure if he wants to tell people or not, and this thing is coming out of his body, and you get all that stuff, and people are like, well, it's so gay and da da da. I'm like, it really adds to the movie and like makes it unique and different and very makes it a very universal horror film. I mean, a lot of people enjoy it, and um, I think that really adds to the movie. I mean, you do have a few scenes where it's kind of like the dancing scene. I must say is like really awkward to watch, and even Mark Patton doesn't like that one, that scene, and you know the coach being whipped naked in the shower is kind of like okay, what's going on, but I did think the under what does that want to say the undertone of it, people say has a gay undertone or something like that. the gay undertone. I think it really adds to the story, and it makes it more of a unique story and different, and makes it more deeper of a story. But yeah, also that, you know, doesn't really bother me about the movie. Um, like I said, I think Mark Patton did great in the movie. The character Jesse is very iconic and likable, and you have a lot of great stuff in the movie. I mean, there's still a couple things that bother me. Like, there's a scene where this Freddy Krueger comes and looks nothing like Robert Englund because they was going to replace him, and this guy comes walking into the scene like this, and you're like, that's not Robert Englund. um, so you could definitely tell that scene was like a little like what, and then also the ending where you're like, wait, um, so like Freddy Krueger ought to he's still alive, so I didn't really get the ending. The crazy parakeet scene that blows up is a little weird. The dog with the faces on is a little weird. But another thing I gotta mention is the ending, which I thought was a decent ending, where you know I believe it's Kim Myers. She goes and she confronts Freddy and ends up having to use, I guess you could say, the power of romance and love and stuff like that to kind of unpossess Jesse and get Freddy Krueger out of him. But the scene I thought looked cool, where Freddy's face is melting, blood and just goo and shit, and he's melting. It's on fire. Cool scene. Jesse, of course, takes the burnt shell off of him. Like the burnt skin and stuff off of him, and it's Jesse underneath of it. That's a pretty cool scene. But I will say, and also the party scene where Freddy is literally just kicking ass. He's just gutting people and leaving them to bleed out and slashing people all the way down. This guy even comes out. He's like, "Hey, I want to help you." He's like, "Help yourself, fucker." And then, slices the guy away. But yeah, dude, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, for me, I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10, bro. It's a great time. Big fan of it. It's underrated as hell. I really get into the film a lot. I think it's great. I thought it's a very different movie and all the different stuff about it I really enjoyed. I like how different it is and how unique it is. But Nightmare on Elm Street 2, for me, gets an 8 out of 10. I really enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Great flick. And I'm going to scroll all the way up because I missed a lot of comments. Apologize for that. Play gives us rankings of the Transformers movies. Devin says, in my mind, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is a non-canon with the rest of the series. It's like its own thing because it said Nancy dies, unless I'm thinking of that wrong. It's been a while since I've seen this. I don't remember they said that she died or she went crazy. I think they said that she has lost her mind. So technically, you could tie it in there because she didn't really die. She went crazy. And you could say that maybe either A, it was just a myth that she went crazy, or B, she got better and came back to Nightmare on Elm Street 3. But yeah, I loved it a lot. So I think um, I think it's unique and different. But since I really enjoy it, I consider it canon. But most people really, I don't think they do. Yeah, I don't think we do. I don't remember one point in this movie where we heard the theme song. Play says, I think Nightmare on Elm Street is a mediocre horror franchise because Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Ray's Dead, and the reboot. They kind of ruined it for me. Um, yeah, that's a common thing with this franchise that towards the end of the series, a lot of it goes off the rails, but we'll get into that in a second. But I respect your opinion on that. The Killer Bean stuff. Cool, cool. Yeah, man, autocorrect. The struggle is real. But yeah, so that movie, I think the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge was actually a much bigger hit than the first movie, made even more money. So, of course, their sequel came out. And this one is easily one of the just man, I love this movie so much, dude. I cannot even express, like, without tripping over my words how much I do love this movie because of how right it is, how good it is, how fitting it is, how just well done it is. And it goes to show that even part threes and fours can be good, like really good. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But right now, talk about Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors, or The Dream Warriors, without me coughing. But Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors, came out in 1987 and ordered by Chuck Russell. Now, Chuck Russell, I've seen 3 movies by him that I absolutely love. That is The Mask, that is The Blob, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. So that's 3 very well done films by him that I really enjoy. Hey, Eric, what's up, man? How you doing? Go back and forth between the original and 3 is my favorite so many times. How you doing, Eric? How's your week been? How's your night going? Hope it's going well. We just discussing the first 2 movies. The first one I gave a 10. Second one I gave an 8. Love both movies. This one, even though I put Nightmare on Elm Street 1 on my top 100 favorite horror films, it made my top 10. I would say Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 is my personal favorite film of the series. That's good, man. That's good to hear, dude. That's good. But it's my personal favorite for many reasons. First of all, I want to say the story is just so original and cool. Such a unique and neat concept. I really got into the Dream Warrior aspect. It just was such a cool idea. Like, of course, talk about dreams. Yeah, of course you would have powers in your dreams. Of course. Because we've all had these dreams where, like, you're invincible or you got super strength that you can fly. We've all had dreams like that. So the dream. All right, I'll see you in a minute, play. All right. Um, the dream power aspect I thought was awesome, and I loved it so much. Another thing I really love is that Nancy comes back in this movie, Helene Camp. Now I don't think she's as good as far as acting goes as the first movie, and the character is treated a little weird, but still she's there, and it's still a good performance. It's good seeing her again, and I still thought she was very strong in the movie. You also have Lawrence Fishburne. You also have other good characters such as Philip and Taryn, and you also have the Wizard Master guy. You've also got Kincaid. You've also got Patricia Arquette in the movie, which I really enjoy. Her in this film as well. But um, yeah, man, I really enjoy the cast. The cast is easily one of those things in the movie that's the strongest part about it, um, as well as the soundtrack. The soundtrack I thought was wonderful. Has this awesome '80s badass rock and roll soundtrack to it, and the score I thought was just nailed, and it was done very well. Um, Great effects, imaginative scenes, great death scenes. This is when you really get into that. It's a good mix of Freddy Krueger too, where he looks creepy, the makeup is done well, but also he's serious, but cracking jokes, but he's not being too like annoying about it, and he's not really. When you get to Freddy's Dead, there's reasons why in Freddy's Dead people don't like it because he's really at that comedy point. But here, it's a good balance. And I love that balance in this movie because you have a dark Freddy that's creepy and serious, but you also have him cracking jokes, which makes it entertaining. And Robert Englund is amazing in this movie. He does fantastic in this film. I thought he really did a great job as Freddy Krueger in this film. Um, yeah, the Dawkins soundtrack, the normal soundtrack, I thought was amazing. The cinematography looks good. It's worked by Chuck Russell. Um, I know it was a very hard movie to make. Like the production of the movie took a while for it to be done, and it was very chaotic. But it made a good movie, and it came out. The final product was very entertaining. But yeah, there are certain iconic scenes. The TV scene. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Or Your wish is my command. And the Joey scene where the hot nurse seduces him and she like shoots the tongues out and the bed falls into the fire pit and Joey's just kind of taken hostage by Freddy Krueger and the Dream Warriors band together and they have their dream powers. One has, which Patricia Arquette actually has, um, she actually has like I guess you could say gymnastic abilities and stuff like that, and she's like doing flips and stuff like that. She also can bring people into her dreams. Kincaid has super strength. Taryn is bad, and the Wizard Master. But it was so cool to see that happen, and the death scenes are brutal, but it still has gore there, where Philip has these veins come out of his body, and he's just walking like a puppet, and it's so brutal, very very brutal, and you have that. You have Terrence, that scene where Freddy Krueger's fingers turn into these like syringes and go into the arms. They're just really well done scene. Um, the scene in it's not a death scene, but I really enjoy the scene where they're in this quiet room, the claws come through, and they get separated in the dream, and the scene where Freddy Krueger is fighting the Wizard Master has this blue look to it, mist, and it's like a tunnel, and it looks so cool, such an iconic shot, and I have that as a thumbnail for the stream. But that is just such a cool looking shot, and it looks amazing, and it really is an iconic thing from this movie. But yeah, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, so many badass things about it. There's like no bad things about it. It's very well done. But what I meant to say is there's so many badass things in it. The soundtrack, the characters, the acting, the look of the movie. Freddy Krueger is badass. The ending is pretty well done, where the mirrors break and they have to bless the remainder of Freddy Krueger. Overall, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 for me is a 9 out of 10. It's a really, really well done movie. Aria Play, what's up? Welcome back. It's a very well done movie, man. It's badass. It's near flawless. It's just, I mean, it really is kind of flawless, but it's just so well made. I love Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 so much. It's just such a good movie. Love it. And we're going to get to the next movie, which came out a year later, which I also love. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, which, again, is like a very, very fun entry in the series. And I rewatched it again not too long ago, and I must say, it's easily one of the best Nightmare on Elm Street movies. It's just so entertaining and so well done. Now, is it as good as the first three? I don't know. It has a little bit more problems, but I can say it's still one of the best ones, you know. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And, you know, does it have problems? Of course it does. I mean, they kill off the Dream Warriors in the beginning of the movie like that. And I was just like, really? You're going to do that? Why? I didn't understand that. I didn't get that at all. But they kill off the Dream Warriors pretty fast. I feel like it has a MTV filter. I like that look to it, but I like the other movies, looks to them a little bit more. Um, I feel like this movie also, it's the one that's probably the most dated because it's a very 80s movie. Now, look, I love 80s movies a lot. The 80s is my favorite decade of all time. It's just such a great time. But this movie really has aged because it's very, very 80s, but it ain't a problem for me because I love the 80s. So, it is whatever. But whereas the first movie I feel will age better, but at the same time, it's not really a problem with the film. I mean, what I can say though is that it's just a very unique movie. Has a cool MTV feel to it. And Freddy Krueger, yeah, he's more common in this movie, and the makeup really isn't as good as Part 3's, but he's having Robert Englund is having fun as Freddy Krueger, and he's just having a blast. So many one-liners. How sweet, fresh meat. Tell him Freddy sent you, or you shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead. Houseless for a wet dream. Rick, you little meatball. I can go on and on and on and on. I love the one-liners in this movie. Um, I love these scenes in the movie, like the just the imagination movie. It's just a very creative film. The pizza, the soul pizza scene where all of Alice's friends' faces and souls are on this pizza, and he's like, "Rick, you little meatball." Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. um, Gets the meatball and eats it. Um, the theater scene where Alice falls forward into the screen and gets sucked into the world inside the screen, and a lot of the sets in this movie look amazing. The sets are very practical and look great. Um, the ending battle, overall, I do thoroughly enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And once again, I think the soundtrack is amazing. The soundtrack is very 80s and awesome. I mean, you got Dramarama in there, you got Tuesday Night, you got so many awesome songs in there. Love the soundtrack, love it a lot. Easily one of the best soundtracks out there. Um, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a very short film. It goes by at a fast pace. It's very, very fun movie. Is it really scary? I can't say it's scary, but it's entertaining. It's fun. It's very well done, in my opinion. Yeah, it has its problems, but overall, I think it's a very well done film. So I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 is awesome. Love it a lot. Um, Great movie, awesome film. But yeah, that gets us on to the next film, which came out in 1989. Actually, before I get to that, I should probably read some comments. Devin says, "Welcome to Primetime Bitch" is one of my favorite lines in the whole franchise. Easily one of the best ones. Um, 3 or 4, yeah. I mean, it went down in quality after Part 4, in my opinion. What is your favorite Transformers battle? For me, it's the forest battle between. You mean between Optimus Prime and Megatron, right? In the forest. Yeah, that was badass. I'm gonna go the same thing. Or the ending battle between the Transformers at the end of the first movie was pretty good. But yeah, so now we're gonna be getting into the very next year, of course. 4 made the record amount of money in the box office and really, really was a big hit. Um, and it's still the most highest grossing Nightmare on Elm Street movie, if you don't count Freddy vs. Jason, which made even more money. But as a standalone Freddy Krueger movie, it made the most money. Um, and as a result of that, the very next year we had A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, which was very, very rushed and came out immediately. And the script was to be about abortions and pregnancy and stuff like that. And it got kind of changed around. And, the movie is what it's about. It's about Alice's baby. And how Freddy Krueger is, how he's been trapped in the dream world, but he's using Alice's baby to kill her friends. And Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, is considered by many to be garbage. It is said to be bad and awful and garbage. I rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, and I've ranted on it before. I've done plenty of videos about it. I must say, it is a decent film. I think it's decent. I can't call it garbage because and I'll explain why I don't think it's garbage. First of all, the strongest thing for me is the atmosphere. This movie's atmosphere I love a lot. It's so different from the other movies and unique. I love how it's the asylum setting and how the dreams all look unique and they have their own flavor. Um, this movie was made by Anthony Hopkins. I did a great job directing this movie and the dream scenes. Um, but yeah, I love that gothic dark feel to it. And it has a great tone where it's like very dark and gothic, and I just love the way that the movie looks and the sets and stuff like that. Also, the music. The music is very well done. I love the sound of the movie. I love the soundtrack. It's great. Um, the death scenes don't bother me that much. You know, Greta's death scene I thought was unique and different. Mark's death scene I thought was definitely different. I thought Dan's death scene was pretty well done and pretty gory. Overall, I really enjoyed the death scenes of the movie. They're pretty well done. And what I like about this movie is that it's not really a body count movie. And maybe that's what turns people off about it because it's not really about the blood and guts. It's more about atmosphere and effects and the dream scenes. And it doesn't have bad things. I mean, yeah, I mean, the cast isn't really the greatest in this movie. Alice is a decent character in this film, but she doesn't really have much to do with this movie. Her friends, the Mark character actually did like, thought he was a good character. Greta as well and Dan as well, but like their acting wasn't. I don't know if it was their fault or if maybe it was just fast shooting, but they didn't really have the best chemistry. But at the same time, they didn't really do that bad. They did more of an you know the characters are more average in this movie, and the previous four movies they were nailed like a lot. This movie they're kind of just average. They're decently done. Um, yeah, I love the gothic feel to it. I really enjoy the dream scenes. The way they look. Mark's dream where it's in black and white, and Freddy comes out and he's all gray and stuff, and you know the way it looks of the atmosphere of the metal and stuff. I really like the way that looked. Um, the scene where her Alice's friend is on this diving board, and that diving board splits into a claw and it kind of comes up. I really enjoyed that. If there's any more problems in the movie, I would say probably the pacing gets a little bit slow. It drags a little bit. I also will say for the positives, I do like the whole Dream Child story. I thought it was unique and different and very well done. But yeah, the movie, and also the another problem in the movie, it gets a little confusing. Like things just happen and they don't really get explained, and it does get a little confusing at times, I must say. But overall, I'm gonna give Nightmare on Elm Street Part Five: Dream Child a 6 out of 10. It's not great, but I do think it's decent. But yeah, 6 out of 10 I think is pretty fair for Nightmare on Elm Street Part Five, and that's pretty high compared to where everybody else rates the movie. People, most people don't like the movie at all. Who is your favorite Autobot and the Decepticon? I don't know why I can't say that. Who is your favorite Autobot and Decepticon from the Transformers films? I've always been an oddball. I've always really liked, my favorite Autobot, which is weird because he's the most underrated and underutilized one, has always been Jazz. Jazz has always been my favorite because of his personality. He's very laid back and chill. I've always really enjoyed Jazz because he's underrated, man. Underrated. Underrated. They never used him. And the movie he got killed off. It was like, wow, really gonna kill off Jazz like that? Jazz is my favorite. And I guess you could say, well, of all, I mean, just I like Jazz because I grew up playing the games, and I also grew up watching the cartoon, and I grew up um, watching TV shows and stuff about Transformers, and Jazz was always my favorite. As far as Decepticon goes, I'm gonna go with. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now, but he's the helicopter Decepticon. But I can't remember his name right now. I really can't for some reason. But and his name, I don't know what his name is, but he's a helicopter Decepticon. But yeah, I really like his character as well. But yeah, those are my favorites. Really, I guess at 5 out of 10, that's a pretty fair rating. But of course, that one didn't do very well. It wasn't much of a hit at all, and the fans really didn't get into it. So of course, the very next year, they wanted to end the series with Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, which came out in 1991, I believe 91. And this movie, a lot of people hate and despise. Uh, I think it's Blackout. Yeah, Blackout's my favorite Decepticon. But this one is a lot of people don't like this movie at all. I must say, it's just too entertaining for me to hate, man. It is so fun. Look, is it scary? No. Is it much of a horror film? No. But is it a fun, entertaining ride? Yes. It's just too entertaining for me to say it's bad. I feel like a lot of the stuff is nailed. I mean, it has a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong. It's not a great movie at all. But I think it's a very fun movie. I think Robert Englund is the best part of the movie. Um, but also, I do think the cast is decent. Like Lisa Zana, like um, the the other guy. I can't remember his name, but he played the John Doe character. Spencer and Carlos and Tracy, good characters in my opinion. Um, so the cast really isn't the problem, and I like the dream scenes and how they look. Again, the atmosphere thought was very unique to the film. The comedy was hilarious when it was there. Did it always work? No, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty funny. Um, it's pretty fast paced. Doesn't really drag. Um, Lisa James pretty good lead, and that's pretty much it for the positives. But the negatives, I will say, the story is a big negative because I'm not a fan of how they pretty much said, "Oh yeah, remember the last 5 movies? Yeah, doesn't really matter because everybody in Springwood is dead, and Freddy's won, and now Freddy's looking to get out of Springwood." I'm like, really? So yeah, and they also do this thing where who is Freddy's child? Freddy had a kid. I'm like, really? This is bad, man. And the whole story of trying to figure out who Freddy Krueger's kid is. I just didn't care for that. A lot of awkward scenes in the town where these people don't have kids, so they're all weird. And like, this stuff is just bad. So yeah, the story is definitely the weakest part of the film. It's just very not well done, and I don't get into it. Also, the comedy, sometimes you're wondering, can it be a little bit more serious? But again, the comedy really isn't the biggest problem for me. I think also what it is too is like the way that Freddy Krueger dies, because he dies in this movie the same way that he died in the first movie, where they pull him out, they blow him up in the movie. It's like, really? Like, would that is that really how you would kill Freddy Krueger? Because it didn't work in the first movie. So how does it work now? And I also didn't like the whole dream demons thing. The We're gonna explain how he got these powers and how he got started and all this stuff. I didn't care for that. Like, don't do this whole prequel stuff. I didn't care. But I must say it's a very fast paced movie. It's very entertaining, very funny. I'm gonna give it a 6 because it's entertaining, but I must say it's not much of a horror film. It's really not much of a horror film, but it is entertaining and it's very fun. But yeah, Freddy's Dead pretty much was closing the series off. Was supposed to be the last one, and I think it made money. But the problem was it was a very like critically wise, it was not well received. So Bob Shea contacted Wes Craven and said, we want to send the series out on a good note, and he was asking Wes Craven if he wanted to do another movie. And of course, Wes Craven and Bob Shea kind of had this thing where Bob Shea didn't really give much of the rights to Wes Craven. So, um, uh, he basically told Bob Shea to pretty much give him the rights so he could get more money. Not really just to get more money, but like he wasn't getting any money at all. So he wanted to get more from what he made, and this whole series making money, and he wasn't really making money. And, he made Shocker to kind of have that franchise, but Shocker didn't do very good at all. So, um, Play says, for me, it's 0 for horror, 0 for horror, 4 for a film overall. That's actually very fair. It's not much of a horror film at all. It's really not. But of course, Wes Craven got the rights again. Well, not really the rights, but he got more of the, like royalties, and he got more of the profit from Nightmare on Elm Street. And of course, then they began production on Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is a film that I do enjoy. I can't say it's one of my favorites, because it has problems. People say it's flawless. I can't really agree with that. I think it does have problems, but I do overall really like the movie. I used to rant on the movie a lot. Like back in the day, I used to rant on this movie bad because the little problems that it has really, I let it ruin the movie for me. But it's just like nowadays, when I watch it, I still think it's a very well made movie. Um, the story is very unique and different and clever and definitely classic about taking place outside of the world of Nightmare on Elm Street. And when Freddy Krueger, the character of the script, got killed and Freddy's dead, this demon got let loose. And it was pretty much using the form of Freddy Krueger and Freddy's powers to kill and haunt the cast of Nightmare on Elm Street. That's a very unique plot. I thought it was very, very well done. And I will say the strongest thing about the movie is that the script is very well written. It's very well done. The acting, of course, you have Helen. You can come back to this movie again playing herself, and she does a good job in this movie. You also have her boyfriend, which is a decent character. You also have Bob Shea, Wes Craven actually acting in this movie, which they do a pretty decent job. Um, John Saxon, of course. You have some pretty cool dream sequences, like where it's very well lit, where Freddy attacks Nancy and cuts her arm like they did in the first movie, or not in the first. I think it was the first movie where she got cut in the arm, but cuts her arm and the wall cracks to see these claw marks. Um, the traffic scene was very well done. But yeah, I think that the good things is like the score, the way it looks. I liked how the style of it was. Definitely very much of an influence on Scream. Now, this really is a prototype, that same style of Scream. So it looks cool, has a good soundtrack. The problems, I will say it's a little slow. I will say, if you think about it, not much happens in this movie. And like, I wish there was more things going on in this movie. Like, it's almost a 2 hour long movie, almost, and it's very spaced out. It's very, spacingly paced, and things kind of happen throughout the movie, but they don't really happen a lot, and more of a slower paced movie, which, I would have put more stuff going on, but, it wasn't like a horrible problem or anything like that. It was just, I thought there should have been a little bit more scenes in there, stuff going on. Forgive me, I'm so tired right now. But I also really, and it's my least favorite thing with the movie, is probably the look of Freddy Krueger. I mean, Robert Englund's a great job playing Freddy Krueger. He's very serious and dark in this movie, but I'm not a fan of that look of Freddy Krueger at all. The glove with the fifth knife and the way his face looks and the trench coat and the sweater and the leather pants and the boots. The whole outfit for me, and the brown hat, like the really brown hat and bright red and green sweater. I did not like that look. Personally, it wasn't a very good look for Freddy Krueger in my opinion. Um, Also, besides Helena Camp, I really didn't care for a lot of the acting, like the lead kid, Dylan. I mean, I can't say it's like horrible acting. I just didn't really care for the character that much. A couple of side characters I didn't really get into, but overall, I think it's still a pretty good movie. And I can definitely say that Wes Craven's Nightmare gets a 7 out of 10. It's very well done, very well made movie. And of course, after that, Nightmare on Elm Street kind of lay dormant for a while. And around this time, Jason Goes to Hell came out, and after that came out, things kind of died down for a while. And the ending of Jason Goes to Hell was the glove coming out and grabbing the hockey mask. So of course, people were asking, when are we going to get this movie? They made Jason X. Jason X didn't really do that good critically. So eventually, they decided in 2003, Ronnie Yu directed the movie, and they decided to, settle on a script. And of course, 2003, Freddy vs. Jason came out. And I must say, for what the movie is, it is awesome. Love it a lot. Really a big fan of Freddy vs. Jason. It's a great movie, in my opinion. Um, I think that it's not a very advanced horror film. It's not anything too spectacular, like as far as plot goes, but you didn't need that. You just needed Jason, Freddy, and gore, and nudity and stuff like that, and teens, and that's what you got. And I thought that Freddy versus Jason was really well done. And I will say it has problems. The biggest problem is that Jason movie is not very well done. I'm not a really big fan of the way that Jason looks in the movie. Um, it's the like Ken Kersinger is a nice person, did his best playing that role, but the whole Frankenstein look for Jason I didn't really get into. Um, and I will say, like, some of the CGI looks a little weird as well, but it's strongest and also the cast. The cast is really not well done in this movie. A lot of these actors I did not care for. Not really the actors, but I just didn't care for the characters. There was nothing engaging about the characters. Really, the cast was a big problem, and the characters were a big problem. The characters and the way they were done and written. But what I did like is there's plenty of gore, plenty of death scenes, great iconic scenes. Ronnie Yu has this specific look to his movies, which I really enjoy. It's well directed, looks good. Um, the fight scene between Freddy and Jason was very well done. The dream world scene and the real life scene was very well done. Overall, Freddy vs. Jason is still pretty good. Like I said, that I can give it a solid 7 out of 10. Really enjoyed Freddy vs. Jason. So far, as you guys have noticed, I have not hated a single Nightmare on Elm Street movie until this point. Which I'm gonna need this because I'm like tired. I need some caffeine or something, man. Because now we get to the fun part of the video. We're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 remake. Written by Samuel Baer, produced by Michael Bay, another one of the Michael Bay produced horror remakes. And I know there are people that enjoy this movie. That's fine. In my personal opinion, this movie sucks. This movie is garbage, dude. It's a horrendous remake. And one of the biggest parts about this movie that was really like just shocking me how bad it was the imagination. So bland, so boring, no imagination, no effort, just bland CGI mess. You had Freddy Krueger, which I think Jackie Earl Haley could have played a great Freddy Krueger. And he had the voice and the look, which I thought was cool. But his face was just like all like CGI, and it looked horrible. And his lines, dialogue he's given in this movie, I would say he did the best he could. But the lines he was given, the script is horrible, horrible thing in this movie. You also have Rooney Mara in this movie, who's the lead, and I don't mean to be mean, but I'm not a fan of the character. Um, you know, you also have Kyle Colliner, which I think, I think, no, Thomas Dekker is the guy from Made the Rest and Made the Rest too, which he was decent in those movies. Here, he's decent, but like the problem is that the characters have nothing to them. They're really, really horrible. Um, they're not well done. They seem like rip-offs of the original movie. Speaking of rip-offs the original movie, like 80% of this movie is rip off the original movie with CGI. And it's horrible. I also am not a fan of the storyline. How they said, well, we're going to make you feel sorry for Freddy Krueger, and then we're not going to make you feel sorry for him. Instead of being a murderer, a child murderer, a child pedophile. I'm like, I don't like how they took that direction of the story. Um, a lot of the scenes are just copying the original movie. Like the scene where Freddy Krueger kind of comes out of the wall, CGI. There's a recreation of Tina's Destiny from the original movie. In this movie, it's like 3 seconds, 5 seconds long, and it's like rushed and it has no impact. Um, there's a stupid shock jump scare ending. There's a twist which didn't really work. There's this thing where there's this group amnesia between these people and they don't know who this guy is and they gotta figure it out. I'm like, so why do they all have amnesia? That's my question. Why do they all have amnesia? I don't know. But yeah, this movie I've covered before. It's just horrible, dude. It is really, really bad. It's easily one of the worst remakes out there. It has just got horrible CGI, terrible music, no imagination, stale, boring, slow, and lifeless. It's a lifeless Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And that's coming from a guy who likes Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 and 6 and Freddy vs. Jason. And this movie has no life to it. Nightmare on Elm Street's about having fun and having energy and being creative and using ideas and what can we do with dreams? You can do so much with dreams. Here, it's nothing. There are a few positives, like some of the visuals I didn't mind with the ash in the room or the floor turning to blood and she falls into the blood, um, or the classroom scene where everybody turns into ash. That was a cool looking scene. Or you know, certain scenes look good. I like the idea of your body will shut down and you'll fall asleep without meaning to. And you know, there's a scene where Nancy's character blinks in and out of a dream, and you're seeing Freddy Krueger kind of appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. That was very well done. So I'm giving the movie credit. Also, Jackie Earle Haley did the best he could. I feel like if he would have had a better look to him, and he would have had like a better, makeup in the face, like his look and the way he did the character, I thought was pretty interesting and well done. But the lines, man, his lines he was given to say, and the CGI in his face really didn't care for how they wrote the character. Made him a pedophile, which really it's creepy in the first movie in the fact that it's implied. You don't know it. They don't make it like obvious and out there and like put it out there for you to see. It's not obvious. It's in the background. You don't know if he do this, did he not do this, but you know he's a child murderer, and it made it to where it was a scary thing. It was creepy. It was well done, but in this movie, I didn't care for a lot of the stuff. It just even the death scenes look bad and they're CGI. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street the remake is horrible. I'm gonna give it a 2, and I'm not over exaggerating. It's just a movie I've probably seen 3 times in my entire life. Once when it came out, once when I did that franchise review, and once a while ago when I did my first Nightmare on Elm Street franchise reviews. But yeah, the remake is horrible. Not a fan of it at all. But read you guys' comments real quick, and then I'm gonna head out because I am super duper tired. But you guys said, Play says, who is your least favorite Autobot and Decepticon in the Transformers films? For their wheeljack, I don't like how they used him. Soundwave, I hate how he looks, how they used him. My least favorite Autobot. That's hard. Oh man, the Jeep guy. I can't remember his name. And then as far as the Decepticons go, nothing's coming to mind right now. Maybe that giant. I don't know. I want to see that giant Transformer they fight at the end of the second movie. I'm gonna go with that. But Play says I give Fravors a 6.5. That's a good rating. Hate the reboot, says Devin. Me too. It takes almost every good thing of the original and ruins it. I agree 100%. I give the remake a 0 out of 10. Hey, I'm not going to argue with that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry that it took forever for it to happen. I know I've been having this show advertised for like a month now. I never did it, but I've been really busy lately, and life has been just really, really busy. But I'm trying to get some more content up as fast as possible. I'm gonna be doing some Frankenstein reviews, some more Lucio Fulci, and newer stuff too. I want to review more newer stuff like Midsummer and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and it's been a blast. Thank you guys again. But anyways, guys, I'll be seeing you guys later. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Have a good Sunday. Make sure to relax, get you some sleep, some rest, get ready for school, work, wherever you guys got to go on Monday. Rest and sleep and re-energizing is good for Sunday. So that's always good. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. You're right, Play. I will see you guys, you and Devin, in the JG stream. I'll see you guys later. But anyways, thanks for watching. The Explorer 4 is out. Have a good night, guys. Bye.